you go, people. For a smart person, this is the dumbest thing Elon's ever said.
So I think we should be cautious with AI, and I think there should be some government oversight.
What the hell? I gotta watch this. Wake up, people! Here we go! Some news headlines. Let's go. So I wanted to hear, because all I'm hearing on the news is how Elon is calling for a 6-month suspension to IA until world government get together and decide how to control this. And I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but a couple minutes into this where he said it needs government oversight, dude, IA is probably the best thing in the world for technological advancement. Not only is it good for advancement in medicine and space travel and energy advancements, prescription drugs, etc., it is a huge advancement in holding government accountable. We the people. It can learn from history and teach us and help us control out of control governments. AI is great for we the people, which is why when idiots start calling for government, the worst of people, to try and control it, dude, you gotta be freaking on drugs. Are you kidding me? Let me see what else he says in here that pisses me off.
Is that good or bad?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about AI for a long time, since I was in college, really. It was one of the things that, the sort of 4 or 5 things I thought would really affect the future dramatically. It is fundamentally profound in that the smartest creatures, as far as we know, on this earth are humans, is our defining.
We think we're the smartest, and our technological advances kind of prove that we probably are the smartest, since no other animal is advancing enough to take over the humans. So by virtue of that, we are the smartest. But are we the smartest in some of the shit we do? That's debatable.
Characteristic.
Yes.
We obviously, now what happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form?
See, this is where humans' insecurities come in. We like being the smartest person on the planet. We think we're above all other things, animals. We can do what we want. And now when something comes along that might challenge us and make us really better, now we want to control it so we can manipulate it for our uses, so we maintain the smartest guy.
It's very difficult to predict what will happen in that circumstance. It's called the singularity. It's a singularity like a black hole.
Okay, so the singularity black hole is nobody knows what's going to happen. I had to look this up because I had not heard this. So if you look it up, it says no one knows what happens at the center of a black hole. It's a no man's land. We can't go in there. We can't send anything in there. Whatever goes in there never comes out. It's almost like heaven. Nobody can get there. Everybody believes that it's there. People want to try and get there. Everybody thinks this is a great place, but no one ever comes out of it that's been there. But anyway, I digress. I shouldn't have mentioned religion. Now I'll have all of it.
Because you don't know what happens after that. It's hard to predict. So I think we should be cautious with AI.
I agree. We should be cautious, but we shouldn't regulate it. We should learn from it. That's how discoveries are made. Discoveries aren't made from being cautious. I always said if it was up to women, we wouldn't have cars, we wouldn't have motorcycles, we probably wouldn't have electricity, we wouldn't have space travel, we wouldn't be flying in planes. Why? Because women want to protect their children, and they would never allow their child to do something that was dangerous. So don't give me this safety Sally bullshit. We need the government, the dumbest people on the planet, to regulate it.
And I think there should be some government oversight.
You're an idiot.
Because it affects the...
I mean, I like Elon. I think he's a pretty smart guy, but he's an idiot on this point. Sorry, Elon.
It's a danger to the public. And so when you have things that are a danger to the public...
Dangers to the public. Every tyrant has used those same words. Public safety, national security. It's for the children. If we just get rid of the guns, you'll be safe. Yeah, if only government has guns and nuclear weapons, then you'll be safe. Idiots.
Like let's say So food and drugs. That's why we have the Food and Drug Administration and the.
Oh yeah, we got a Food and Drug Administration that gives emergency approval to vaccines that are killing people, and we're told we can't question it, and government controlled it, and media controlled it, and social media controlled it. Dude, you took over Twitter and said you were shocked on how the government was listening and reading everybody's direct messages. Everything that was happening in Twitter was being manipulated by the government, and you can't learn from that? Maybe you ought to try learning from freaking prior experiences, because the government is not your friend or the fix. The government is the problem.
Federal Aviation Administration, the FCC.
He's given all examples of failures and complete government bureaucracy that wastes money and doesn't keep us safe, but in the name of keeping us safe, keeps growing and getting more money.
We have these agencies to oversee things that affect the public, where there could be public harm. And
he's sounding way too left-wing socialist, idiot communist to me in this video.
You don't want companies cutting corners on safety, and then having people suffer as a result.
Yeah, so we'll regulate the shit out of gas stoves. We won't drill for oil here, and we'll let China do it. That creates 100 times worse emission standards and destroys the environment 10 times what we would do it here, and somehow government think that's a good idea. And you agree with them, Elon? What the?
So that's why I've actually for a long time been a strong advocate of AI regulation.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm sorry.
So that I think regulation is, it's not fun to be regulated. It's somewhat arduous to be regulated. I have a lot of experience with regulated industries because obviously automotive is highly regulated. You could fill this room with all the regulations that are required for a production car just in the United States, and then there's a whole different set of regulations in Europe and China and the rest of the world. So very familiar with being overseen by a lot of regulators.
Which surprises me that you would want the government, the most ignorant. The average age of government is 54. Most of them don't even know what a URL is or how to freaking direct message or how to send a copy of a text, or some of them don't even know how to screenshot their damn phone. And I'm not saying that makes you smart or dumb, but we don't have the most technological freaking smart people in Congress. They're not smart about anything except lying, fooling the public, and getting reelected. That's the only thing, and spending money. Wasting money.
And the same thing is true with rockets. You can't just willy-nilly, shoot rockets off, not big ones anyway, because the FAA oversees that. And then even to get a launch license, there are probably half a dozen or more federal agencies that need to approve it, plus state agencies. So I've been through so many regulatory situations.
And you think you would learn that it stops growth, it costs money, it gives government power, and it takes away freedoms and free enterprise. You would think you, of all people, would know that. What the hell did they feed Elon?
It's insane. And sometimes people think I'm some sort of like regulatory maverick that sort of defies regulators on a regular basis. But this is actually not the case. I
believe that now. If you're calling for more regulation, I'm pretty sure that you're nowhere near a freaking maverick.
Once in a blue moon, rarely I will disagree with regulators, but the vast majority of the time, my companies agree with the regulations and comply. Anyway, so I think we should take this seriously, and we should have a regulatory agency. I think it needs to start with a group that initially seeks insight into AI, then solicits opinion from industry, and then has proposed rulemaking, and then those rules.
When he says solicits interest, that means who's going to give me money to push their agenda. That's why you don't want government making decisions.
Will probably, hopefully, grudgingly be accepted by the major players in AI, and I think we'll have a better chance of advanced AI being beneficial to humanity in that circumstance.
But all regulations start with a perceived danger. Planes fall out of the sky, or food causes botulism.
Yes.
I don't think the average person playing with AI on his iPhone perceives any danger. Can you just roughly explain what you think the dangers might be?
Yeah, so the danger, really, AI...
That's a very good question. Because when politicians or people say we need regulation, public safety danger, nobody ever questions them exactly. Like the term gun violence. Guns aren't violent. People use guns and violence. Cars aren't violence. People use cars. Knives aren't violent. But most people believe that gun violence is a real thing.
Is perhaps more dangerous than, say, mismanaged aircraft design or production maintenance or bad car production, in the sense that it has the potential, however small one may regard that probability, but it is non-trivial. It has the potential of civilizational destruction.
Unlike nuclear plants, nuclear fusion, nuclear bombs, building enough nuclear bombs to destroy the entire planet, that shouldn't be right. Who should regulate that, Elon? Should we have a government agency maybe regulate that on when nuclear weapons can be used and who can use them and who can have them and who can't? It's just absurd when people first stop is the government to fix a problem when all government does is create a problem or make it worse.
It was like Terminator, but it wouldn't quite happen like Terminator, because the intelligence would be in the data centers.
Right.
The robot's just the end effector. But I think perhaps what you mean...
Yeah, they'll probably be intercepted because we'll outlaw freaking energy here soon. A robot can't run on a freaking windmill, so that'll control just that regulation itself.
What you're alluding to here is that regulations are really only put into effect after something terrible has happened.
That's correct.
If that's the case for AI, and we're only putting regulations after something terrible has happened, it may be too late to actually put the regulations in place. The AI may be in control at that point.
Kind of like the government. Exactly like the government. We can't control them. They're in control. It's too late to regulate them. What's our alternative? R2?
You think that's real? It is conceivable that AI could take control and reach a point where you couldn't turn it off and it would be making the decisions for people.
Yeah.
You know what? That may not be a bad thing. I mean, would you rather have a robot or freaking dumbass Biden making your decisions? I'll take a robot.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, that's definitely where things are headed, for sure.
Here's my point on AI, people. Imagine all history, AI learning from every history and every mistake in history, and the problems and the downfalls and the prediction of governments failing and what governments are doing wrong and how to hold governments accountable and how to remove tyrannical governments and how to see the signs of what tyranny is and how to spot the media when they're pushing propaganda and agenda. Remember, a lie detector test is used to hire our most secret people in the most secret jobs for classified material. Every country uses lie detectors. Yet our Congress and our lawmakers don't want lie detectors to be passed as reliable because it can hold them accountable. AI can hold them accountable, and it scares the hell out of them. And that's what they want to regulate. They don't want we the people to understand the failures, the predictions, the knowledge, the non-biased knowledge without their political bullshit spin, controlling the media, federal government threats, who's paying them in the backside, stuck. They don't want somebody smarter that can point out all their shit. AI is the best, probably, equalizer after the gun that's ever come about. And that's why government's going to want to jump on regulation.
The things like say, ChatGPT, which is based on GPT-4 from OpenAI, which is a company that I
haven't used this yet. I got a few friends that are doing it. I really want to get in there and play with it. I would love if somebody who's really good into AI, I don't know if you can kind of like get it on a learning curve but I would love to have an AI set up on a learning curve of how a revolution, how to overthrow a tyrannical government, how, when shit goes to hell, what's the best way to survive. I would love all that information in an AI and have that thing learn exponentially from all the mistakes. I mean, that's what I would do, but I don't understand AI enough to understand if that's what it does. Does it learn everything, or can it be problem and subject matter specific?
Played a critical role in creating, unfortunately.
Back when it was a nonprofit?
Yes. I mean, the reason OpenAI exists at all is that Larry Page and I used to be close friends, and I would stay at his house in Palo Alto, and I would talk to him late into the night about AI safety.
If he's close friends with a guy from Google who's a left-wing loon, that bothers me. Every time I try to like this guy, I mean, I think he did a great job by taking Twitter, and he really made Twitter a lot more free and open. But the more I see friends like this, the more I'm concerned about this guy is a left-wing loon. And that means he's for the destruction of freedom in America.
And at least my perception was that Larry was not taking AI safety seriously enough.
What did he say about it?
He really seemed to be one sort of digital superintelligence, basically digital God, if you will, as soon as possible.
He wanted that?
Yes. He's made many public statements over the years that the whole goal of Google is what's called AGI, artificial general intelligence, or artificial superintelligence. No, and I agree with him that there's great potential for good, but there's also potential for bad. And so
that's with everything. Every government is always telling you that they want to focus on the internet is bad. We should ban it. We should restrict it. We should cancel. We shouldn't allow people to have TikTok because they're too stupid. We shouldn't allow them to be able to search how to build a bomb. Nobody needs to know that. We need to protect them. We need to keep things secret so only we have the knowledge so we can use it against the people when we want to. Government regulation and control and power is never a good thing.
If you've got some radical new technology, you want to try to take the set of actions that maximize the probability it will do good and minimize the probability it will do bad things.
Yes.
It can't.
If AI is so smart, it should be able to tell us what's good and bad, what the downfalls are, what the upside is. That's the whole purpose.
Just be helpful others, just go, barreling forward and, hope for the best. And then at one point, I said, well, what about, we're going to make sure humanity's okay here. And then he called me a speciesist.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Did he use that term?
Yes. And there were witnesses. I wasn't the only one there when he called me a speciesist. And so I was like, okay.
So what is a speciesist? Maybe you like your species? You don't want it to go extinct? Is that what that means? I'll have to look that up. I'll slide it in.
Okay, that's it. Yes, I'm a speciesist. Okay. You got me. What are you? Yeah, I'm fully a speciesist. Busted. So that was
He is kind of funny. He's got a dry sense of humor, but he is kind of funny.
the last straw. At the time, Google had acquired DeepMind, and so Google and DeepMind together had about 3/4 of all the AI talent in the world. They obviously had a tremendous amount of money and more computers than anyone else. So I'm like, okay, we have a unipolar world here where there's just one company that has close to a monopoly on AI talent and.
A monopoly. That sounds a lot like government. Government wants a monopoly on the guns. They want a monopoly on the use of violence. They want a monopoly on making the rules. They want a monopoly on the rules applied to you but not to them. Wow, that sounds familiar. Yeah, that's who we should get in charge.
And computers, like scaled computing. And the person who's in charge doesn't seem to care about safety. This is not good. So then I thought, what's the furthest thing from Google would be like a nonprofit that is fully open, because Google was closed for profit. So that's why the open in OpenAI refers.
Who thinks Google isn't in bed with the government? doesn't share, doesn't get special benefits, isn't paid, doesn't let the government use special things that we don't know about. Who thinks that Google is completely independent of the government? Well, that's because you're an idiot.
It's open source, transparency, so people know what's going on.
Yes.
And that we don't want to have like while I'm normally in favor of for-profit, we don't want this to be sort of a profit-maximizing demon from hell.
That's right.
That just never stops.
Right.
So that's how.
A billionaire talking about, we don't want this to be about profit. Irony.
OpenAI was.
So you want specious incentives here? Incentives that.
Yes,
like,
I think we want pro-human.
Yeah.
Let's make the future good for the humans.
Yes.
Yes, because we're humans.
So can you just put it? I keep pressing you, but just for people who haven't thought this through and aren't familiar with it, and the cool parts of artificial intelligence are so obvious.
Wonder what he's drinking.
Yes. Write your college paper for you, write a limerick about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot there that's fun and useful. But can you be more precise about what's potentially dangerous and scary? Like, what could it do? What specifically are you worried about?
Going with old sayings, the pen is mightier than the sword. So if you have a super intelligent AI that is capable of writing incredibly well and in a way that is very influential, convincing, and
You mean like our current lying media and our current lying White House and current lying government? You mean like them, the people that you want to regulate?
and is constantly figuring out what is more convincing to people over time.
Oh, you mean like propaganda? Could learn how to decipher what's propaganda and what's truth. Oh no, the government can't have that.
And then enter social media, for example, Twitter, but also Facebook and others, and potentially manipulates public opinion in a way that is very bad. How would we even know?
How do we even know? So to sum up, in the words of Elon
I guess I want to hear his summation here.
Musk, for all human history, human beings have been the smartest beings on the planet. Now human beings have created something that is far smarter than they are. And the consequences of that are impossible to predict.
So when we learned how to defy gravity and fly because it helped us and we could control it, that was okay. And when we learned about electricity and power plants and nuclear fusion and nuclear plants, that was okay. But somehow a program that can advance knowledge for everyone should be controlled by the government. Are you freaking kidding me?
And the people who created it don't care. In fact, as he put it, Google founder Larry Page, a former friend of his, is looking to
former friend. I didn't hear the former part.
Build a, quote, digital god, and believes that anybody who's worried about that is a speciest. In other words, is looking out for human beings first. Elon Musk responded, as a human being, it's okay to look out for human beings first. And then at the end, he said the real problem with AI is not simply that it will jump the boundaries and become autonomous and you can't turn it off. In the short term, the problem with AI is that it might control your brain through words.
Didn't Elon want to put a chip in the brain? Did I miss that?
This is the application that we need to worry about now, particularly going into the next presidential election. The Democratic Party, as usual, was ahead of the curve on this. They've been thinking about how to harness AI for political power.
Of course. All government will, not just freaking the left. All right. Look, I'm a little bummed that he called for government control. I think he's a smart guy. Maybe I'm misinterpreting this and I'm getting this wrong. I don't believe in sensible regulation from the government. There is no sensible or common sense in the government. And anybody that says that or expects that from government doesn't get it. So I'm not sure he gets it. All right, we'll end that there on AI.